So hey there guys, what's good? My name is Tino and welcome to Hello World. This is a brand new channel here on YouTube where I'll be basically taking a look at all the brand new AI tools that are being released and then having a go at trying to build out some useful applications with them. So a bit of background, I'm a software developer and I normally work on websites and mobile applications. But recently, much like everyone else, I've been paying attention to what's happening in the world of AI and trying to see how it's going to affect my job and what I need to do to basically stay relevant and useful in today's world and the future. So it seems like the general message in the news these days is that nobody's job is safe. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a writer, you have to be aware of LLMs and how they can enhance your workflow, and at the same time how they can also kind of make you redundant. So you kind of have to figure out a new way of working. So that is the same for people who are in the visual art. So if you're someone like a concept artist, a graphic designer, or even if you do photography, you have to be aware of image generation models and how they may affect the way you work. Similarly to people who do cinematography, anyone who works in movies or visual effects. Quite recently, the video models, they seem to have jumped in their capabilities and they're getting closer and closer to making something that is 100% indistinguishable. And for people who work with audio, I think we've all come across the voice clones and the text-to-speech models that are used in a lot of the YouTube shorts and the TikToks. In the same audio space, there's also music generation, which is one that I don't think gets as much light shown on it, just mainly because there's not really a day-to-day use case for most people unless you play around with music or content creation. With music generation, it's actually gotten really scary. It's gotten to a point where you can literally fool DJs on the radio. You can give them music that you've generated and they'll play it thinking that it came from a human being. I've actually done this quite recently. I managed to get 2 songs played on the BBC here in the UK. I used an application called Suno. I think it was their version 3 model, so not their latest model that they've recently released. But yeah, it just goes to show how far audio and music generation has come over the last couple of years. I'll be making a video on the process that I used to basically generate those 2 songs that got played on the radio. So if you subscribe, if you want to see that, yeah, stay tuned to that's coming soon. And yeah, so the model that we're going to be talking about today is going to be completely different from all the other ones that I've just mentioned, mainly because this one allows you to interact with it in real time. So there are many AI experiences that you can interact with real time. So you give it input and then you'll see something change immediately on the screen. It's something that honestly I thought would be one of the last things to happen, mainly because it's not just something that one human can make. You normally need a big team of people to make something like this. And if you don't know already from the title, I'm going to be talking about Genie 2, which is a brand new model that Google have just announced today, on December the 4th. It allows you to take a picture, a generated image or something that you've taken on your phone and then interact with it in real time, almost like a video game. So if you connect it to a PC with a keyboard, press forward and the camera moves forward. If you move your mouse, the camera pans left and right. So it just basically plays like a video game. I guess they've used a lot of YouTube gameplay to train this model. I know in the post they go on to talk about agents and how this model is going to be used to train autonomous agents and put them in situations that they have never encountered and see how they perform. So yeah, this one really blew my mind when I first saw a video recording of what it can do. But before we get into it, let's just talk about its predecessor and some of the other models that have recently come out that do a similar thing but not as good as this one. This one so far seems to be the best one that I've seen. So yeah, let's take a look at those right now. So alright, I did a bit of Googling and hopefully you can see my screen right now. And what I'm showing you right now is essentially the first version of this Genie model that Google have just released. And it basically allowed people to generate these playable 2D environments. So if I try to zoom in right now, hopefully you can see. And yeah, this was really cool, seeing clips of this all over the internet. And just immediately how it sparked a lot of ideas in my head on where this thing could actually go, because if you can essentially turn any image into an interactive experience like this. The big question is, where does it actually end? Like, how much can you generate? Can you then go and generate a whole game? Can you generate a whole world? Where does the world end? What in that world is actually possible? Can you speak to entities in that world? Like, a lot of things just start running through your mind when I've seen something like this. Although, yeah, it's quite simple. It's just a few pixels going left and right. You press X, the person jumps. But immediately, I think everyone can see the end game of what something like this could become. So I think this was like last year or maybe even earlier this year. I can't really remember, but then something else happened which was quite big. The Descartes AI released this playable demo of Minecraft, where essentially it's a diffusion model that generates the scenery in real time and allows you to play it much like the first Genie model, but like now you're in a 3D environment. And if I quickly fire it up, it's got this quick menu. I've never actually played it on my computer. I've only watched videos of other people playing it. Yeah, you click in the menu, you click the area where you want to spawn, and will it actually work? Oh yeah, it is working. So yeah, I'm playing Minecraft. I'm streaming Minecraft that is being generated through a diffusion model in real time. This is quite trippy. So yeah, this is pretty cool. You can walk around. If I press D, I move right. If I press A, I move left, and W to move forward. So yeah, it's real time. Now with this one, the problem is that you can see it's not really consistent in the world that it generates. Everything is a bit hazy, and if you stare at one area for too long, it starts to forget what the rest of the world looked like. So I've seen online, you get into a situation where if you look at this, let's say, brown patch for too long, or I'm not able to do right now. If you zoom in for too long and all of a sudden you are in a completely different area. So yeah, it's really cool for what it is. Am I simulating the menu now? But yeah, that's Descartes AI. The main thing is that it's like the first real example of what's to come, like of a 3D game being rendered, being generated in real time. So yeah, like I said, this one has its issues, but it's a really cool vision into what is going to be possible in the future. So yeah, that's Oasis. It's a really cool experience. Anyone can try it out if you haven't already. I think it really does a good job at showcasing what the future of these interactive generated experiences might look like. It's also open source, so if you have the hardware, you can have a go at running something like this on your hardware, on your own machine. And I've also seen a model like this that allows you to go through a Counter-Strike map. But same thing again, it's very early stages of this type of AI model, and the experiences can only be coherent for maybe a few seconds or minutes before they start breaking down. So yeah, that's Oasis. Let's have a look at the new model that Google has just announced, which is Genie 2. So yeah, I'm going to read it out loud, and I'll just leave the most interesting parts that I think you might find useful if you haven't read the announcement yourself. Today we introduce Genie 2, a foundation world model capable of generating an endless variety of action controllable, playable 3D environments for training and evaluating embodied agents. Based on a single prompt image, it can be played by a human or agent using different keywords and mouse input. So immediately off the jump, this one is different from the other two that we've seen because you give it an image and then it just generates the environment for you. I guess Genie 1 did do that, but again, it was 2D. The Descartes AI Minecraft model clearly is only capable of generating Minecraft. But this one seems more general in that no matter what image you give it, it's going to generate something for you and let you play it. So immediately I can already see something like this being the future of gaming, where you almost scroll through it like TikTok. You find an image that you like and you start playing or you start interacting with it like in real time. I think that would be a cool concept to try to do here on Hello World if one of these bundles ever become open source. But yeah, the article goes on to say that games play a key role in the world of artificial intelligence and AI research. Their engaging nature, unique blend of challenges, and measurable progress makes them ideal environments to safely test and advance AI capabilities. Indeed, games have been important to Google DeepMind since our founding, from our early work with Atari games, AlphaGo and AlphaStar, to our research on generalist agents in collaboration with game developers. Games have been the center stage in our research. However, training more general embodied agents has been traditionally bottlenecked by the availability of sufficiently rich and diverse training environments. As we show, Genie 2 could enable future agents to be trained and evaluated in a limitless curriculum of novel worlds. Our research also paves the way for new creative workflows for prototyping interactive experiences. So yeah, Google clearly has a history with using games for some of their AI research. Famously, AlphaGo was the first model to beat a human Go champion, I think, and then AlphaStar. I don't know much about it, but I know it's a StarCraft playing model that was just basically trained by allowing it to play itself until it got to a point where no human could beat it. So yeah, games are really important part of Google's method of training their AI systems. And I guess with this model, there are obviously a lot of use cases that immediately come to mind. But one of the big ones that they've just highlighted is the ability for them to essentially have unlimited testing environments for their AI models. There's only so much that you can do with the games that are available in the real world. There's only so much that you can do with the data that's on the internet. But if you can just create custom environments to train a model to behave in a certain way, I guess that is a really powerful tool to have in your bag. Obviously for us, it's a really cool model for just playing video games, but I guess this has greater implications in terms of how AI models can be trained once this gets to a certain level. So in this section, we're still talking about the capabilities, and it goes on to talk about the emergent capabilities of a foundation world model. The emergent capabilities are just things that they didn't necessarily train for, but they are happy accidents that they found, things that they didn't expect but surprised them about the model. So until now, world models have largely been confined to modeling narrow domains. In Genie 1, we introduced an approach for generating a diverse array of 2D worlds. Today, we introduce Genie 2, which represents a significant leap forward in generality. Genie 2 generates a vast diversity of rich 3D worlds. Genie 2 is a world model, meaning it can simulate virtual worlds, including the consequences of taking any action, e.g. jump, swim, etc. It was trained on a large-scale video dataset and, like other generative models, demonstrates various emergent capabilities at scale, such as object interactions, complex character animations, physics, and the ability to model and thus predict the behavior of other agents. Below are example videos of people interacting with Genie 2. For every example, the AI model is prompted with a single image generated by Imagen3, so that's the image generation model. This means that anyone can describe a world that they want in text, select their favorite rendering of that idea, and step into and interact with the newly created world. Genie 2 can generate consistent worlds for up to a minute, with the majority of examples shown lasting 10 to 20 seconds. So yeah, it's always pretty cool that these things always have emergent capabilities that people never really think about at the beginning. I think with language models, there were cases where we gave it a bunch of text, and all of a sudden one day we found out that it could do a bit of maths, it could do a bit of coding, so things that we didn't specifically train them to do. And now people mainly use them for those things. So like me, I mainly use language models to do coding. There's also like a huge debate around whether or not people actually believe that these models actually understand what they're doing. So just because it can simulate physics or looks like it can, does it mean it really understands it? Or just because it can code, does it understand how to code? But yeah, the general mood that I've seen from people online is that they don't really care if it really understands like what it's doing. The main thing is that it's doing what you want it to do at the end of the day. Alright, so the next section of this blog that Google released, they go on to talk about the action controls. Genie 2 responds intelligently to actions taken by pressing keys on a keyboard, identifying the character and moving it correctly. For example, our model has to figure out that arrow keys should move the robot and not the trees or clouds. So they go on to show off these short video clips, and they've also made them really, really small. I'm actually zoomed in 100% at the moment. I can't zoom in any further, but yeah, hopefully you can see everything that this robot's doing. This one's going forwards, this one's going left, this one's going backwards, right, and this one's jumping. So yeah, from afar, if you really zoom out on these videos, you could easily confuse these clips with something pulled straight out of Unreal Engine or Unity. Like, anyone who does game development knows how much effort and all the different steps that you have to go to just get something like this, the 3D model, the animation cycles, and then linking them up in a way that they look seamless together. It's a lot of effort, and to think these models are able to simulate something like that is kind of scary and a bit disheartening, can't lie. I really wonder what the effects of all this will be in the future. Will it lead to people actually being more creative and outputting more, or will it just kill any sense of creativity from people? So yeah, we have a cool example of a first person with the hands in front of the camera. Looks like it has a nice little walk animation going left, strafing left. And yeah, with this one, they're going to show a different environment doing the same thing, just to show you how flexible this model seems to be. It can take seemingly any prompt, convert it into an image, and then make that image fully interactable. Alright, now this one really looks like a GTA clone. I really think that Google might literally release GTA 6 before we get GTA 6 from Rockstar. If not GTA 6, definitely I can see them doing something a lot more impressive than GTA 6 whenever that comes out in the future. You can literally imagine them connecting this to Google Maps and allowing users to just go to any location and then immediately start playing any game that they want from real world environments. So that's a cool little concept. And yeah, in this section of the blog, Google goes on to talk about the long horizon memory, which is basically one of the main issues that we found in the other models that I've shown you in the beginning of the video. So in that Minecraft game, at a certain point, if you looked at something for too long, eventually the whole world around you would turn to jelly and then just disappear and turn into something new. If you looked at a tree for too long, if you zoomed into the bark, the brown part of the tree, give it maybe 4 seconds, you turn around, you're in a completely different landscape, completely different world. So with long horizon memory, Genie 2 is capable of remembering parts of the world that are no longer in view and then rendering them accurately when they become observable again. So yeah, brilliant stuff. The basics you would expect in a video game for it to remember the environment that you're in. It's a really small thing when you mention it, but it's a huge technical leap that they've taken with this model, and I imagine it makes it feel more realistic and grounded when you interact with this. Alright, continuing with the blog, Genie 2 generates new plausible content on the fly and maintains consistent world for up to a minute. So yeah, I think they're saying pretty much the same thing as this long horizon memory. It's a cool thing that you can obviously play it for a minute. You would want to play it for longer in the future, but I guess extremely early days. And these two particularly, they really look like actual video games. So I wonder what they actually use to train all of this. And are Google going to end up in a situation like the music generators like Suno and Udio, where they're being sued by the music industry? This one really looks like a PS1 game. Genie 2 can create different perspectives, such as first person view, isometric views, or third person driving videos. So yeah, basically it really is mad how much like actual video games these look like. And I honestly wonder what's going to happen to the actual video game industry, because you hear about how much money they spend on trying to make these experiences. And if some teenager can essentially just make something like this with a single prompt, with a single sentence in a few seconds, it's not going to look good. But then again, we'll see what happens. What I'm really waiting for is somebody to do this with a VR headset. So if we can get to a point where the latency is low enough and it can generate your environment in real time while wearing a VR headset, a Meta Quest 3 or something like that. Now that would be peak. I think that would be like we've reached what I think the metaverse is, because I think, yeah, literally that is the metaverse for me. That would be peak. I think when people talk about the metaverse, in my head, that is what the metaverse is. Like, everything is generated around you and responds to you in real time. Because I think one of the criticisms that, let's say, the Horizon metaverse platform, that's a Meta Quest, I think. The main criticism is the graphics. Like, it breaks your immersion, it doesn't look nice, and you don't really want to spend that much time there. But imagine something like this. I think literally this might be the future of gaming. Putting on your headset, your VR headset, and then coming onto a page like this or an app like this, where you pick an environment that you just want to be plopped into. So let's just find something nice. I think this looks interesting. Little sci-fi thing happening here. But yeah, just imagine putting on your headset and immediately the game turns into an interactive experience like Genie 2. I think literally that is peak metaverse. It's the metaverse that we deserve. It's the metaverse that we've been promised. I would pay good money for that. I would pay good money to just put on headset and escape literally into a different universe. If you're able to interact with it, if you're able to pick up objects using your VR headset, if you're able to speak to entities and inhabitants inside it, that would be peak. So yeah, it almost reminds me of this animation. Ignore my Googling here, I forgot the name. But yeah, The Midnight Gospel. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but it's a really, really trippy animation series on Netflix. But there is this machine in The Midnight Gospel that the main character can use. He just puts his head into... But yeah, it really reminds me of this machine inside The Midnight Gospel, where the main character puts his head inside it and then he can see like a whole universe. He basically gets transported into a whole universe. And one of the coolest things that he does is that he's able to pick up items in that universe and then take them out and bring them into his universe. So you can almost imagine a situation where you can go into a game environment like this and you can find objects that you really like that have been generated by AI for some particular reason. You pick them up, you pick them out, you take them out, they come out like almost a 3D file that you can print in a 3D printer. So that would be a cool concept, maybe a little project to do one time. Alright, so I think we're getting closer to the end of the post. The last cool thing was this section. By using Genie 2 to quickly create rich and diverse environments for AI agents, our researchers can also generate evaluation tasks that agents have not seen during training. So yeah, now we've got a situation where an AI is controlling the player character and another AI is generating the frames. So yeah, it's a full-on AI fest. So yeah, that's the end of the post and the end of the video. So if you made it this far, thank you for staying this long and watching all of that. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is the first video on my channel. If you guys have any sort of feedback on how I can improve going forward, please do let me know. It's going to be useful. I have a bunch of videos coming up. Like I mentioned, I have one surrounding the 3D. I have one surrounding audio generation, so mainly music production. In that one I'm going to be talking about how I managed to get 2 songs played on the radio, and then I'm going to be trying to make a third one and see how far that goes. And I have a sort of longer term ongoing series that I haven't uploaded yet, where I'll be developing some applications. So if you guys are interested in technology, anything AI, creating prototypes, I just love tinkering with stuff, yeah, please sign up, and yeah, stay tuned to see what comes up. Thank you for watching and goodbye. Have a good day.